There we go. All right. Kind of sucks. There we go. All right. So I don't know who all's on here, if anybody's watching or not. So I got a little inspired. Went to Cigar City Brew Pub today, and they had some of their Cigar City cider and mead cider there. So I got to thinking, I'm like, I haven't done a cider in a while. Actually, it was like October of last year. So I kind of wanted to do one. Stopped at Publix, and I figured out I would go ahead and do kind of a simple one, because I get people to ask me every single weekend, how do you make cider? How do you make cider? Like, well, it's like super easy. I play the Publix game. So we're going to start off. It's a base, just some regular organic Publix apple juice from concentrate. The only thing that you want is you want to make sure that it doesn't have any preservatives, and you can tell if it has preservatives or not. You can just look right on the back, and the very last ingredient, if it says something about potassium sorbate or something that you don't want to put in your body that's a preservative, just don't use it. And then I don't know if anybody's ever had Bee Nectar Zombie Killer, but it's a cherry Cyser. So that's actually what we're going to do today. It's cherry juice, apple, and we're going to put a little bit of honey in it. So I picked up some R.W. Knudsen just black cherry. Nothing in here but juice from ripe whole black cherries. That's exactly what we want. All right. And I also picked up some frozen mango chunks. I don't know if I want to use these or not. I'm just kidding. I know I want to use them. This is going to provide a little bit of tartness. I recommend before you add anything to any of your ciders, taste it. It's not going to taste. We're going to taste that like that when it's done. But if it doesn't taste good from the beginning, don't put it down. All right, I also got a little bit of hot water here. Now that's just to sanitize it in the kettle to top off whenever we get done pouring in our main ingredients. I have my rubber bung, my airlock. I have my refractometer because I'm going to be checking my specific gravity, so that way I can see how much alcohol I've actually got in this thing. My little pipette so that I can pull a little sample. I got 1 gallon glass jug, carboy. We sell these. Or if you have like an empty apple juice container, you can use that too. It's already been cleaned, but I'm going to sanitize it right before I start adding stuff. And so that leads us to this. This is Star San. Just real simple. This is the sanitizer that we use for everything. Making beer, wine. I mix it in the proper concentration in a 1 gallon jug, and then I just keep it in here. The reason I do that is because I don't want to have to waste a whole bunch of Star San every single time. It's kind of ridiculous. This stuff's expensive. So if you put it in a bottle, spray bottle like this, I mean, a whole bottle will last you a year and a half, 2 years. Well, you tell me. All right, and aside from that, almost forgot. Most important thing. It's up to you what kind of yeast you want to use. Or you can get a little creative. So the ingredients are going to mean a lot. They're going to, that's going to be the base of it, but the yeast is going to impart more flavor than what anybody really gives it credit for. I'm going to use a US04, which is a whitbread style yeast. I use this in a lot of, the porters, and a lot of the stouts. It imparts a little bit of fruitiness, especially when it's fermented at a little higher temperature. I'm going to try to ferment this thing. I'm going to slowly raise it. So I'm going to start it at like 64, and then I'm going to slowly raise it to about 72 or 73 degrees. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a nice clean ferment right from the beginning. And I'll really get it started good. But then I want to impart some of that fruitiness from getting the residual, or from getting the higher temperatures, to get some of those fruity polyphenols developed out of the yeast. So we're going to see what happens. Anyways, US05. I'm going to use an entire packet because I hate opening a packet and thinking that I can reuse it again, and it's completely unsanitary. All right, so let's get started. The only thing I need is my funnel. And of course, my kid likes to play with my stuff. I was my funnel, where would I be? No. Good deal. Alright. So you got a funnel. I'm going to do a little sanitation. Alright, we're going to sanitize funnel. We're going to sanitize the jug first. Okay? Real simple. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to Star San's a no rinse sanitizer. So I'm just going to swirl that baby around in there. Get it good. Make sure it gets on every surface. Every last bit of it. You want it all the way up into the neck and everything. Okay, just put your hand over it and swirl it around like that. Okay, and get it good. Alright. Pour the rest. If there's any residual, just pour it in the sink. Alright, we'll take our funnel. There's a little bit of coming out, it's fine. It's no big deal. When I hear the yeast actually likes it. Alright, so we're going to start with our apple juice. Now, I hear a lot of people is like, oh, why don't you heat the apple juice first and, you know, make sure that there's no microbes in it whatsoever. Okay, it's pasteurized, so it's already been done. You don't really need to do that. I am going to spray the top of it just in case there are any germs, microbes on my hands, you know, that might get translated. Seriously doubt there will be, but better safe than sorry. Alright, I'm just going to pour this bad boy in. Cool. Easy enough. It was just half gallon. Alright, next is going to go the just black cherry. Again, take a little Star San. No big deal. First makes it slippery. There we go. Alright, again, pasteurized. Don't need to heat it. Just I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll show you guys the color in a second. That's absolutely gorgeous. I'm stoked. Alright. So, that's what the color's looking like so far, if you can see it. Yeah. That's pretty. When it ferments down, it's going to get a lot clearer. You get a lot of sediment and proteins and stuff that drop to the bottom. Alright, so now, let me figure out how many of the mangoes I want to do. I want to give it some tartness, but I don't want to give it like too much. Yeah, I'm probably not going to need that. No, I'll just sanitize my hands because I'm going to have to drop them in. Okay. Oops. The kid will pick those up. Well, maybe another handful. I don't really know how much flavor it's going to impart. I really don't want a whole lot. I just really want a little bit of the tart and maybe a little bit of the citrusy aspect of it. Oh, that's good. All right, maybe one more. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say this is the secret ingredient, but I'm going to give it a little bit more fermentable. And what's cool about this is, I mean, a lot of you guys know that I went to Boston a few weeks ago. anytime I go anywhere, I try to pick up their local honey, especially if I can get a raw, unprocessed, straight from the apiary. I recommend you do the same because honey takes on its own characteristic depending on where the bees live. So Boston honey, Boston cherries, I don't know, sounds good. I know cherries are a northeastern thing, so I'm going to use Boston home grow straight from our own pure honey from Fopema's farm, Foppema. Picked it up at a farmer's market in downtown Boston. It was great. It's a pound. I used a little bit of it on my pancakes the other day. It was delicious. So I'm going to add what's left. And that's going to take just a little bit to get down in there, but yeah, that's what it is. Now we already got a lot of fermentables in there with the apple juice and the cherry juice. You gotta have sugar. That's the bottom line. You're not gonna have any alcohol creation if you don't, so make sure you're not getting like anything that's sugar-free. Sugar-free is like the work of the devil anyways or something. Alright, that's good. So let's take a look while that's pouring in. Let's see. So this has got 26 grams of 26 grams of sugars per 8 fluid ounces. I'd have to go and do the math on that, but that's probably right in the range of where you want as far as having a good base, somewhere around 22 to 26 per 8 fluid ounces. This one is 25, so they're right around the same range. USO4, the nice thing about it is it's not going to get very high. I could have used like a champagne yeast or something like that had the potential to attenuate all the way out to 15% alcohol. Look, I've got one sitting out in my fridge in the garage right now that I did October of last year and accidentally went that route. It was like almost 20%, and it's almost done. I'll package it and have it ready for this Christmas. It was supposed to be for last Christmas, so don't make that mistake. You'll find that if you get somewhere around 8, 9%, 10%, that's going to be plenty. If you like it a little higher, crank it with the champagne yeast. Just understand you could have some kerosene flavors going on. All right. And we're almost done with that. And all I'm going to do is, as you can see, we got the mangoes and stuff floating, and I'm just right underneath of the 1 gallon mark right there. I kind of want to add a little bit of water to it because I have a feeling that this baby's got a lot of sugar. Now, the fermentation is going to be a little violent, but it's not going to krausen up like it will whenever you do beer. So I feel pretty safe coming up to, maybe 1.5 inches above the 1 gallon line. And this is just to dilute it just a little bit. I don't really expect that I'll dilute a whole lot of it. That's good. Right. That also helps to clean out a little bit of that honey and stuff that was stuck in there. Which there's still a little bit of honey at the bottom. That's okay, I'll save that for pancakes. Alright. Guy in the sink, I don't need that anymore. Alright, so now we've got this guy. We've got a whole bunch of honey in there. We got a whole bunch of cherry juice. We got apple juice. We got the mango chunks. A little bit of water. What I need to do now is I need to mix it all up. Not only do I need to mix it up, but I need to aerate it. I need to get some oxygen shoved down in there. That's going to allow the yeast to become healthy right from the get-go. I'm going to add some yeast nutrient to it as well to kind of give it a little boost right from the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bung, and I'm going to sanitize it inside and out. Okay, it's fine if you get it on your fingers. You need the thumb there anyways. And I'm going to plug that hole. Okay, and then shake. You want to get stuff mixed up pretty good. You don't want to have any honey sitting on the bottom. See, you got all the foamy stuff. That means there's oxygen. Now you don't want to do this after fermentation. If you introduce oxygen into the system post-fermentation, chances are you're going to get cardboard flavors. Not very appealing, not very tasty. All right, so next thing we're going to add is yeast nutrient. Pretty simple. This is diammonium phosphate. I think what is it, one teaspoon per gallon. So this will last you forever too. Perfect. Quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon, 1 teaspoon. Look how fancy that is. Not mine, my wife's. All right, again, because it's going to be touching stuff in there, sanitize. Good. All right. Real simple. Take your bung back out. Get a little bit of DAP, yeast nutrient, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I got a teaspoon, and I guess I could have used the funnel, but I'm just going to pour it in. All right, so lesson. Always make sure you have a spare one of these, and don't push it too far down in there unless you got the airlock in. Otherwise, you're going to have to fish it out later. That sucks. All right, so really the only thing left to do is we need to add the yeast, and we need to get some sanitizer on our new one. We need to sanitize our airlock, and I'm going to go ahead and just use this to fill the airlock with star sand. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pour an entire packet of yeast in. I'm going to throw the airlock on. I'm going to let it sit in I got a fridge outside. But you can let it sit in your house. You can just set it up on the counter. Let it go for 2-3 weeks, something like that. You'll see little air bubbles. The only real way to check to see if it's done, though, you got to use the hydrometer. So let's do that first, actually. I'll show you. All right. So, again, sanitize because it's going to touch. And sanitize inside now. And I'm going to take just a little sample, and I'm going to put it right here on the top. Now what this is going to measure is I'm going to look inside here. Let's see if you can see. I don't know if you can or not. Maybe. Yeah, there you go. You can see there's like a little scale in there. And this is going to tell me how much sugar is in that bad boy. Okay. And of course I'm blind. I gotta focus. Looks like I'm sitting at about 17 degrees Plato. 1.065. This thing will hit 9% easy because it's going to dip well below 1. I got to do that calculation in my head. That's 65 points. Depends on how far below 1 it goes. But at least easy 7%. We'll say that. So, somewhere between 7 and 9. All right. So all that's left to do, throw the yeast in, throw the airlock on, let it sit for a while. Okay? Any questions? Let me know. I want to throw the recipe up on the website, www.swanbrewing.com/brew forum. It's on the forum. You'll see it. It's got a link to a whole bunch of different recipes for beer, cider, wine, mead, the whole 9 yards. Go check it out. can follow it. 2 to 3 weeks, primary fermentation, check it to see where it's at. If you like it, feel free to drink it straight from there. If you want to carbonate it, it gets a little more tricky. The only way to really get this carbonated is to force carbonate it, and you got to have a CO2 system for that. You can do it in a 2-liter bottle. That's for a completely different story, completely different session. So thanks, guys. Anybody tuned in, appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.